Hey guys, and welcome back. Today is an exciting one. We're going to be doing some painting. That's right, we're going to get very creative, very artistic, and we're going to be doing some painting. No, not with your typical media of paint and a paintbrush. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be painting with light. And to make it even better and more challenging, we're going to be using our cell phone, in this case I have the iPhone 11, to create some stunning images like this. That looks amazing. So if that's what you're into, let's shine some more light on photography and paint with light. Okay, there's a couple of ways that we can use our smartphone to do light painting. The first way we're only going to talk about because it's the second one that is most interesting. The first one though is basically using our cell phone as a light source to do the light painting. How do we do that? Boom. Here you can see, you just basically open up your web browser, go to Google Images, type in what color you want, select one, have it fill the screen, and then you can use it to paint. You can use any color that you so desire. The one thing I will warn you about though is make sure that your phone doesn't auto dim during a long exposure. So if you're kind of tracking across and then your phone dims on you, it's going to change it within your final image. So you don't want that. Make sure that you change that within your smartphone. Also, you can adjust the brightness of your screen to suit your needs as well. So that's one way that we can use our smartphone, any brand, make or model, to do some light painting. As long as you can get on the net, you're good to go. Now let's get into the fun one, and that's using our iPhone to actually take the photo and create some stunning images. Now before we get into actually doing the light painting, we need to look at what equipment do we need, and it's pretty basic. You need something to hold your cell phone so it doesn't move. In my case, I'm using this little Ulanzi tripod, and you see for my little tabletop setup, it works perfectly. But anything will work as long as it holds your cell phone steady. Speaking of cell phone, that's the next thing we need. I'm using the iPhone 11. The newer iPhones have the ability to go into night mode, which allows you to do a long exposure. And that's what you need to be able to do. Now, if your Android or your older iPhone doesn't have that ability, there are apps. Go to the App Store, you can download one, and then you'll be all set. The next thing we need is a light source. I'm using the Weelight K21. I will put a link to it down below where I did an unboxing and review of it, but this little light source worked great. I only had it set at about 1%. You can see it's on there. It's not very bright because any greater than that, and the problem was it was burning out. So I ended up with a white light and not colored. So you have to be aware of that. But that's it for equipment. Other than, what are we going to photograph? Well, in my case, it is Dove body wash. No, I'm not sponsored by them. It just happened to be what I have at hand, and it worked out well. And you can see in the final image that I matched the coloring on here so it complements the product beautifully. So that's it for equipment. Now for our little setup here, you can see I've got the Dove sitting on a mirror, so I got that nice reflection, black background, and you can see the little tripod there with the camera set in. Now when I hold the light, I put my fingers like this, so I've got spacings between them, so I create more of a grid going along versus a big band of light. You can move it in different directions, it doesn't matter. You can see I moved quite quickly because most of this was only around 7 or 8 seconds for an exposure, and if I was in the scene too long with the light, one, I would show up as a ghost within it, and the light would no longer have color, it would just be a white burned out area. So I had to move quite quick with the light to be able to get the color and the patterning. But you can do any pattern you want. You can go up, down, sideways, it doesn't matter. Experiment, play with it. You're going to have to adjust the intensity of your light and your exposure times and tweak it. And it was just simply a trial and error. I can't say, oh, you set it for 8 seconds and this light on this power, because it'll change in the room you're in and the lighting within your room. But that's the basic way of doing it. Now, I will show you now the close-up of how I did it on the phone within the phone settings, so we can walk through that. There's my setup. Now I need to lock my focus on my exposure, and I bring my exposure down a bit so I get that nice black background and foreground. I then simply adjust the seconds on the night mode up to its max for this lighting setup. I then just simply start the camera going, move my light in behind within that time frame, and then make sure I get out of there, let this thing finish. It will render the image complete finished, and my finished product is, boom, right there. Look how good that looks. So you can see there's minimal equipment to this. It's just a matter of getting your exposure right, getting the right movements down, and it's a lot of trial and error. I went through quite a few different attempts to get the look that I was going for. Now, along that idea, you can do a lot of this in post, in Photoshop. So if we just simply take a picture of our product in our setup, move our product out of the way, and then simply use whatever light we want to create all the different designs and patterns and colors that we want, and create a little library of these files, we can then put it together in Photoshop using blending modes and layer masks. So let me just show you quickly in Photoshop kind of how that works and what it looks like. I brought our basic image into Photoshop here, as you can see there. And then on the right hand side is I got a couple of layers here with layer masks. And I can just simply turn those on and you can see how it brings it in behind. Because of the mask, I masked off and I painted over the area so that it wouldn't show on the product. And I've got a couple of different versions here of different light paint backgrounds that I have done. But you can just simply put them together, stack them together, and you can also change your blending mode on how it affects and overlays on top of the image. But it's that simple how you can do it in Photoshop by adding a background to the scene after the fact. Now you can see there's another way of doing it, and it is very handy. You might have got that in camera almost perfect, but you need that little extra oomph. Well, you can create that little extra oomph and then add it in post to create the perfect picture. I do honestly prefer to do it in camera, but sometimes you've got it looking just great, but it's just missing a little bit. Well, in post, you can fix that and get an awesome looking image. So that's all there is to light painting using a smartphone. Remember, if you don't have the long exposure capabilities, you will need to download the app. Newer iPhone users, you're good to go. You just need to use your night mode and shoot in a darker room, and you're all set. So that's it for light painting. I hope you enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun doing this one for you. So if you're new to the channel, please subscribe. Hit that bell notification so you're aware when I post new videos like this. If you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up. So until the next time.